Next race up on our program is the Women's Collegiate Lightweight Final. 5 crews in it. This is a straight final, but they raced a preliminary yesterday which determined which lanes they would be rowing in today. So from lane 1 out through lane 5, we have the fastest to the slowest on the basis of yesterday's preliminary.
Women's Collegiate Lightweight Final. Stanford A, lane 1. University of Victoria, lane 2. Stanford B, lane 3. British Columbia, lane 4. Georgetown, lane 5. 5 minutes. Raised the motion, they got to be the Stanford rules. They could be the other way around once they figure out what this is all about. 4 minutes.
Well, hope you get the field back here. How much? 4 minutes? You found your car okay? Good. Oh, by the time you got there. You're going to get back and have to idle back. What are those coasters?
I might be able to do a couple warnings.
Are there waters in there? Yeah, throw me a water. Yeah, I almost told you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Uh-oh. You can practice that on the fly. Oh, on the fly. This is a family shot. We'll try to So once you're done, put the knife above your head.
Yeah, we'll test it. Take the place. So we'll just get them. Set them right in. What you gotta do. 2 minutes. Stanford A, lane 1, warning, late to the line. Coxswain, please acknowledge. Thank you. Georgetown, lane 5, warning, late to the line. Coxswain, please acknowledge. Thank you.
At the starting line, event number 80, Women's Collegiate Lightweight 8 Final. Lane 1, Stanford University. Lane 2, University of Victoria. Lane 3, Stanford University. Lane 4, University of British Columbia. Lane 5, Georgetown University.
Stanford A, University of Victoria, Stanford B, British Columbia, Georgetown. Attention. Go.
That's the start for event number 80, Women's Collegiate Lightweight 8 Final. The Cardinal A boat in lane 1 pushes out to a slight advantage over University of Victoria. Then in lane 5, Georgetown's in the 3rd spot, followed by the Stanford B boat and the University of British Columbia. Still with a slight advantage in lane 1, it's the Cardinal A boat by 1 seat over University of Victoria, who at 250 meters now pushes their bow ball in front. So the bikes from the University of Victoria now leading this race over Stanford in lane 1. And then out here in lane 5, Georgetown is in the 3rd spot, followed by UBC. And Stanford B is the 5th crew in this race. University of Victoria now with a comfortable 3-seat advantage. Taking a 10 here, moving up to 4 seats, now 5 seats on the Stanford crew on the inside. So we're coming up to the 500-meter mark. University of Victoria is in front, followed by the Stanford A crew. And then it's the University of British Columbia in the 3rd position. Then Georgetown, and then the Stanford B boat.
This is the Women's Collegiate Lightweight Final. The vitaminwater cup they're competing for, and lane assignments are Stanford University. Their A crew is in lane number 1. Lane 2 and our current leader, University of Victoria. The Stanford B crew is in lane number 3. University of British Columbia is in lane 4. And Georgetown University is stroking out of lane number 5.
The crew to beat in this race is going to be the Stanford lightweight crew in lane number 1. They put in a fairly commanding performance yesterday over the same competitors. Finished about 7 seconds faster than the University of Victoria. I'm sure the University of Victoria are going to want to try and reverse that result from yesterday. We're seeing them at the moment really trying to come on terms with the Stanford lightweights.
Some open water back to our leaders. Currently, University of Victoria and Stanford University. Their A crew, the B crew, is in 3rd position, with Georgetown and the University of British Columbia going stroke for stroke for the final 2 spots. This is Stanford. Stanford A crew now edging out to a slight lead over British Columbia. Check that over Victoria. 2 Canadian entries in lane number 2, the University of Victoria, and in lane number 4, University of British Columbia.
Looks like Stanford have a lead of about 3 to 4 seats over the University of Victoria, and their B boat has an advantage over the University of British Columbia for that third spot.
This is the Vitamin Water Cup, race number 80, the women's collegiate lightweight final. As the lead has traded hands between Stanford and the University of Victoria. Victoria off on a quick start and had the early lead, and Stanford now eclipsing that lead and picking up that number 1 position. University of British Columbia and Georgetown University, and then Stanford University's B crew. Open water between the trailing 3 crews and our 2 leaders at this time. As Stanford, along the shoreline, the Stanford A's have picked up the lead over University of Victoria. Only crew to kind of fall out of sight here is the Stanford University B crew in lane number 3. Outside, making a bit of a move, is Georgetown, as they have gotten past the University of British Columbia. Georgetown on the outside, making a mild move, but no threat right now, at least, to Stanford University's A crew along the shoreline and the University of Victoria in lane number 2.
Yes, the University of Stanford University put in a big move in that third 500. Looks as though it's moved them away from the University of Victoria. Georgetown on the outside are coming strong. They certainly made a move, or seem to have made a move, on the University of British Columbia. So there's a royal tussle going on the outside there between those 2 crews. The Stanford B crew, lightweight B crew, has moved back a little bit in the race and seems to be to have essentially lost contact. But we're now seeing the Stanford A crew coming down to start their last 250 meters with just a little bit of clear water over the UVic crew in lane 2, with a big tussle happening on the far side between Georgetown and the University of British Columbia, and it seems like that one could well get resolved in Georgetown's favor if they can continue their push to the line.
This is the Stanford A crew in our lightweights. A comfortable open water lead over the University of Victoria. All the way to the outside, Georgetown, then the University of British Columbia and the Stanford B crew. It is Stanford A's on the shoreline. University of Victoria in the gold shell. All the way to the outside, Georgetown being pressed just a bit by British Columbia. And then the Stanford B crew. At the finish line, Stanford University making a move at the 1,000-meter mark, took over the lead as they picked up the victory over the University of University of Victoria. And then outside we go to Georgetown, getting up in that 3rd position. University of British Columbia is 4, and Stanford B crew comes up on the 5th spot.